President Trump wants to get tough on trade.
Right now, we have foolish trade.
We've lost more than 1/4 of our manufacturing jobs since NAFTA was approved.
Okay, ready? We have stupid trade, stupid trade.
Nobody's ever made bad trade deals like our country has made.
It's a chronic drag on growth and a destroyer of jobs and the wealth of our country.
And his administration is directly targeting the $500 billion trade deficit, pledging that reducing it will help boost the economy and create jobs. But is that true? Let's start with what the trade deficit really is. It reflects the balance of trade. That is, the difference in value between a country's exports and imports. A nation has a trade surplus if it exports more than it imports, or a deficit if it imports more than it exports, like the U.S. For example, in 2016, America brought in about $750 billion more in appliances and footwear and apparel and other consumer goods than it exported. But we had a $247 billion surplus in services like tourism and finance. That left us with a $502 billion trade deficit. The last time America had a trade surplus, Gerald Ford was president.
I, Gerald R. Ford, do solemnly swear.
But is a multi-billion-dollar trade gap a problem? A trade deficit is not inherently good or bad. After all, America's trade deficit grew during the economic boom times of the late 1990s and early 2000s. That's because the U.S. economy is primarily driven by the American consumer, who loves cheap imported products. And countries that do have a trade surplus are not necessarily economic growth stories. For example, Japan's stagnant economy currently has a $35 billion trade surplus with the rest of the world. Now, President Trump is right. Cheap imports did kill off some American jobs. The sharp decline in manufacturing began back in 2001, just as Chinese imports ramped up. But one study estimates just 1 million of the 6 million jobs lost between 1999 and 2011 were due to cheap Chinese imports. And technology, not trade, is the main driver for manufacturing job loss. So while stricter policies from the Trump administration may indeed lower the trade deficit, it doesn't guarantee to create jobs or boost economic growth. In fact, trade barriers could hurt the primary benefit Americans get from free trade, namely cheap goods.